Every single fight will be broken down as we explore each fighter's genre-defining brand of intimidation.
Yeah! We beat him! We beat Mike Tyson!
Yeah! Oh my God! Yes! Stay down! Yeah!
Wow! Wow!
Oh, thank you, boxing Jesus!
Did I get him? Is that a TKO? Yeah! I did it! I beat Mike Tyson!
Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! One of the best games on the NES. In fact, in my opinion, it is the best game on the NES. Every character is filled with personality, and every fight is a unique experience. And because of that, this ranking ought to be a lot more interesting than the last one. Now, I'll be considering these fights based on how difficult they are to both new players and experienced players, so let's step back into the ring and rank every Punch-Out fighter from easiest to hardest.
Hey Squidward, do you know who Joe is?
I do not know who Joe is. Tell me.
Glass Joe. What do I say about this fight that hasn't already been said? Well, I guess I could say it's hard. I doubt anyone's ever said that. The fact that you can beat this guy in one punch should say everything you need to know. His guard is terrible, his attacks are weak and slow, so slow in fact that the only way I could see a new player losing is by getting winded and dodging too early. He's a star generator, he gives a ton of stun, he doesn't even attack for the first 40 seconds of the fight, his taunt leaves him completely open, and most offensively, if you time a counter just right, he goes down instantly and doesn't get back up. Everyone knows this guy is the easiest, so why should I even continue talking about him?
Our major export is roses, bulls, and wimpy fucking boxers!
I bet you all were expecting Von Kaiser next, huh? But no, Don Flamenco, hailing from Madrid, Spain, has all of one attack. The whole gimmick here is he won't use it until you provoke him. You attack him, he counters, you dodge and punish. Not just that, but if you knock him down twice in less than an in-game minute, he's not getting back up, and that's not hard to do. Also, star punches are an instant knockdown, but they are a bit hard to get, and he can dodge if you spam them too much. That's the only reason he's not dead last. He's honestly one of the harder early game bosses to speedrun. That's something he shares with his rematch, which we will get to, because he has the biggest difference in difficulty between his first fight and his second fight. That said, if you lose to the first fight more than once, you might need to join a retirement home because you clearly have dementia.
I asked a German girl for a number, and I'm currently waiting for the rest. So far, all I have is 9.
Alright, now we can talk about Von Kaiser. Moving up into D tier, Von Kaiser, hailing from Berlin, Germany, is a very, very low D tier. It was teetering more than a penny on a needle, but it was leaning slightly more to the side of D tier. Von Kaiser may only have a jab and an uppercut, but they're decently fast, although very predictable, especially with his weird head shake. His defense is also very lacking, and he's an absolute star generator. Not only that, but the stars are an instant knockdown if you use them in stun, making him very vulnerable. Now, you might be wondering why this guy isn't an F tier, and that's because his punches are decently fast for a second opponent, and he doesn't give out free stars until a bit later in the fight. So to a new player, Von Kaiser seems like a genuine threat, until they realize you can block the jabs. God damn it! Being able to block the jabs is what made me want to give this guy a high F tier, but I knew deep down he didn't deserve it, because despite this German juggernaut being out of his prime, he still has just enough to give you a temporary taste of what he was like in his glory days.
Alright, you get 3 wishes, but there's 3 rules. No bring anybody back from the dead, no making anybody fall in love with you, and I can't kill nobody. Wish spiders had wings. There's 4 rules.
Top ranked in the major circuit, my ass. Great Tiger sucks. I may have been throwing around the phrase star generator in this video so far, but this guy's a star generator. His jabs are telegraphed by the jewel on his turban blinking, and hitting him with a jab when his jewel blinks gets you a star. The problem arises after he stops throwing the jabs and starts throwing uppercuts. All his uppercuts give you stars, and it's all he does, over and over again, since his super move is timer based. Said special move has him flying around the screen and punching you. But honestly, this is just a fancy party trick done with smoke and mirrors. It's just a Honda rush. Block 5 punches and he'll just stand there stunned. Better yet, if you punch him while he stands there, he goes down instantly, but does get back up. The only thing keeping him out of F tier is how disorienting his special move is, but that's really about it.
In Japanese culture, blank is considered very disrespectful. Alright, what's considered disrespectful? Oh, that one? Okay. The bombing of Nagasaki. Noel, why?
The minor circuit champion is here, and he takes us from low D tiers to low C tiers. Honda has a jab that he telegraphs by wiggling his eyebrows, a hook, and an uppercut. All these attacks are fast and strong, especially for the minor circuit champion. And yes, he does have a pattern, but that pattern can split into quite a few different branches. None of said branches, though, include the Honda Rush. This attack is timer based, and has him hitting you with jab after jab after jab. The only way to deal with it is to block it. Block 4 punches in a row, and you get a long stun. That's all he has, but that's all he needs. Also, unlike the 4 other fuckheads before him, in the list at least, not all of his attacks have counter windows. His uppercuts don't have a counter window. So if you try, you're just gonna get smacked. However, there's one problem with this fight that means he can't go any higher. If you time your punch right, you can counter the Honda Rush, which gives you an instant knockdown. That makes the Honda Rush something to anticipate rather than dread. A very solid fight indeed, but it just needed some time to bake. If only he had a rematch that improved the fight.
And this other dude just said world's largest pumpkin. You're a school bus. You look like the sun. Cheese ball build. You look like a bowl of mac and cheese.
Is this a hot take? I'm not quite sure. A lot of people seem to think this fight is really easy, but I feel like a lot of people seem to underrate King Hippo. This fight is more of a puzzle boss. He has 2 attacks, a jab and an overhead. And what you need to do is hit him when he opens his mouth. The thing that I think people have lost sight of that makes him so difficult is just how strong King Hippo is. Each individual overhead does a whopping 50 damage. Let me make sure you heard that right. This man's overheads, which are technically a normal attack, can chunk off half your health. Not even Tyson can do that. That makes it very risky to go for counters, but it's what you need to do. But the thing that makes everyone say this fight is easy is how large the window to hit him is. Another thing is if you wait exactly 3 minutes on the stat screen before starting the fight, you're pretty much guaranteed a 40-second knockout. Oh, speaking of which, once you knock King Hippo down, he's not getting back up. Much like any good puzzle, he knows not to overstay his welcome once you solve him.
This is getting out of hand. Now there are 2 of them.
Moving up into B tier, we have Piston Honda 2. Now yes, he has had some more time to bake, but he could have used a bit more. First off, he doesn't do his hook anymore unless you get winded, but that doesn't really matter. Instead of a regular jab, he does a triple jab, and he also has a new side-switching uppercut. Aside from that, he just does uppercuts over and over again. He also gives less stun. The big problem here is his Honda Rush. First off, instead of the rush going on forever until you block a certain amount of jabs, he just does 4. He always does 4. Second off, the window to get the instant knockdown is much smaller, but if you hit it, he goes down and doesn't get back up. That's honestly the big problem here. Aside from that, he's a hard opponent, but being able to beat him in one punch makes him much easier than he could have been. Soda Popinski is one of 2 fighters in this game who I think are just kinda overrated. Yeah, he's fast and he's a southpaw, but much like Sandman, he's hella cheesable. But first, attacks. He has 2 hooks, an uppercut, a jab with absolutely no startup or telegraphing, so it's basically a block check, and a triple jab he'll only do if you run out of hearts. The big thing everyone talks about is how, unlike every single other fighter, he's not telegraphed at all aside from his triple jab. He fights like a normal-ass boxer. That said, there's one weapon you have in your arsenal that makes Soda an absolute joke. Blocking. It means you could block his jabs and get stun off them. But you can't get stun off the hooks if you block them. Shut. He always follows up his first hook with another hook, so you can dodge that one, or better yet, parry it to get a star. But what about his uppercuts? You can't block uppercuts. Shut! Soda has a trick in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, where if you're blocking while he's doing an uppercut, he just kinda sits there, so you can either prepare to get out of the way, or hit him in the gut for a star. But you can only use a star punch on him once before he'll start dodging. Shut! Yes, he'll start dodging your star punches, but only if he has time. If you quick dodge his uppercuts, you get a special kind of stun where you start punching him faster. This gives you more time to smack him with a star punch. Yes, he only gets instantly knocked down by star punches once, but star punches still do a shit ton of damage. But what if you get winded? You're left completely defenseless. Shut! Remember how I said he only does his triple jab when you run out of stamina? Well, if you run out of stamina, you can wait for his triple jab, then dodge all his jabs, and by then you'll most likely get your stamina back. So yeah, blocking completely nullifies every single trick Soda has. And it's crazy how people don't talk about how useful blocking is in this fight. They just talk about the star trick. That said, due to how much faster his attacks are than most other fighters, he still takes 6th. I'm just trying to justify putting him this low, when a lot of people say he's one of the hardest fights in the game.
Your life is nothing. You serve zero purpose. You should kill yourself now.
Don Flamenco 2. Another potential hot take, maybe? I don't know what the general consensus on this fight is difficulty-wise, but I do know it's less than favorable. People hate this fight, and for one reason. But first, he has actual attacks this time. He has a jab, a hook... Okay, now that his new attacks are out of the way, the main difficulty is his taunting phase. And that's because of an absolutely baffling design choice. He's not always guaranteed to counter, and that means you just have to keep punching and punching until he eventually gives in. Now, I don't think predicting his uppercuts is as hard as most people think, since if he's not gonna do an uppercut, he recoils, but if he is about to do an uppercut, he doesn't. That said, the thing that makes this fight hell is there's no possible way to drop the RNG to 0 except praying to RNGesus. Everyone hates this fight for a reason.
What? We're flying to Philadelphia! Oh, hell no!
I know this take is gonna give me a lot of hate. Now, don't get me wrong, Mr. Sandman is difficult when you don't know what you're doing. His main gimmick is when you hit him in the face, he'll block his face, so you'll need to punch his gut instead. His hooks and rolling jabs are really fast and strong, making them very difficult until you realize you can block both of them. But that's not even the biggest problem. The biggest problem is, much like his arcade appearance, a left jab leads him to counter, so you can just dodge the hook and get stun off of him. Oh, but the rolling jabs! You can just block those. Oh, but the Dreamland Express! Okay, that's a good point. The Dreamland Express is definitely the hardest part about Sandman. You are given no time to react. The only indication it's even gonna happen is he just sits there doing nothing for a few moments. That's honestly the thing that puts him in A tier. If it weren't for that, I consider a C tier placement, because that left jab trick absolutely ruins this fight. If it weren't for that trick, this fight would easily be an S tier and would be harder than Macho Man. But as it stands, he's definitely not harder than Macho Man. Can y'all stop saying that? I am so sick of hearing it. That is one of the stupidest things I have heard from this fucking community.
If a bull starts charging at you, most people would start running away.
Alright, now we have Bald Bull. Another potential hot take? Maybe? I'm not quite sure. Moving up into the A tier, I think Bald Bull is a massive difficulty spike in Roadblock. If you haven't graduated from the Punch-Out Elementary that is just dodge and punish, you will not beat this fight. Bald Bull has some fast jabs, hooks, and uppercuts, especially compared to everyone before him. Not even a second into the fight, he slams you with a sucker punch. If he follows his 2 hooks up with a 3rd hook, he'll start bombarding you with uppercuts, and of course, the bull charge is devastating. This attack forces you to parry it, and if you can't parry it, well, you know what happens. Even better, the window to counter the charge is an oh so generous 6 frames! Everything about this fight is made to be a roadblock, and if you haven't learned the ins and outs of the game, you're not making it to the world circuit. Now, he does give you a lot of stars, but you can't use them more than once since he'll start dodging them. If you want to hit him with more stars, you'll need to time them so they counter his hooks. Bald Bull is a wall, but you want to know what's harder to beat than a wall?
Most people? What do you mean most people? I don't think I know a single person who would just stand there while a bull is coming at them full speed.
Well, the answer is a reinforced wall, of course. Yup, moving up into S tier, we have Bald Bull's rematch. His second fight is really only quality of life improvements. You can't counter his jabs, he leaves much less time between his attacks, his bull charge has an even tighter counter window, he has more health, less stun, and his attacks are stronger. That said, there is one big change. You can't knock him down unless you either star punch him or counter his bull charge. So why is he only one spot above Bald Bull 1? First off, he won't dodge star punches when stunned anymore. And second off, he has a taunt which gives you a star. I understand why they made these changes, but it means he can't go any higher. Oh, also, he can't go any higher because, second place is... I've heard a lot of people say Super Macho Man is easier than Mr. Sandman, and I will never agree. Super Macho Man is pretty much the same as Soda Popinski for the first little bit, except without the triple jab. But then after a little while, he just kinda stands there. The last time a fighter stood there doing nothing, he immediately smacked me with a special attack. And spoiler alert, this time is no different. This single macho spin is easily the hardest part of the fight, and yeah, I know this one guy with glasses will nod when he's about to do it, but that's really hard to see even if you do know it exists. This spin also does half your health, so it's absolutely devastating to get hit by. He also has the famous Super Macho clothesline where he'll spin wildly, and it's an instant knockdown if you get hit by 1. He can also do this infinitely. A lot of people think the spin count caps at 11, but that's absolutely not true. Also, his uppercuts do a whopping 25% of your health, and they're basic attacks. While not as devastating as Hippo's overheads, they balance it out by being much faster. He also has a lot of HP with basic attacks doing jack shit. Even star punches don't do much damage, but you can unload them on him when he's standing still charging up a single macho spin. The one thing about this fight that keeps it out of P tier is the fact that you don't need to duck under his spins, because if you did, this fight would be absolute hell, because you need to press the down button twice to do it. That said, this fight was never gonna take first place. None of these guys were. You wanna know who did? Oh, who am I kidding? You already do. Nobody, and I mean nobody, should be surprised. Mike Tyson is in a tier of his own. He is the only fighter I've yet to beat without save states. So you know what? I did just that for this video. He starts the fight with his iconic dynamite uppercuts, and they pretty much carry the fight. Their fast are all instant knockdowns and only give you 2 hits of stun. This phase also lasts for 90 in-game seconds, and it is the most stressful 90 seconds ever. But if you can get past it, the fight goes from borderline impossible to just, oh god, please send help. His jabs are fast, but not nearly as fast as his uppercuts. Speaking of uppercuts, he'll randomly throw in some uppercuts, but they're not nearly as devastating as the dynamite uppercuts. At the beginning of round 2, he'll throw jabs at you until you get winded, forcing you to dodge his following attacks. He also has his own Honda Rush, but it's unironically the easiest attack of his to deal with. Honestly, if the Dynamite Uppercut phase didn't exist, this fight would be a low S tier, but because of that phase, this fight is a monster for 2 reasons. 1, just getting through the phase itself. 2, even if you do get past the phase, your hands are going to be shaking from the achievement, putting even more pressure on you to beat him and making every loss more devastating. And it's definitely the hardest boss on the NES, which is saying something. No, Mega Man doesn't count. I would also say it's one of the best final bosses on the NES, simply because of how much justice it does to Mike Tyson's style. It is perfectly conveyed in this fight. That said, he's not the protagonist. You are. So you have what it takes to beat him. It'll take a lot of time and maybe a few save states, but you'll get there eventually. That said, I didn't want to use save states. I wanted to beat him completely clean for the first time. So you know what? Here's my victory run. He's gonna do it again. I fucking hate that 2-jab combo. Or we're gonna have to win by TKO. But winning by TKO is not easy. I'm not sure how many KOs it takes to, like, make him stay down. I'm pretty sure it's 5. I could be wrong, though. I need 5,500 points, I'm pretty sure. Please. I can't win by decision. I can't. Oh, never mind! You know what they say. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. So, that was the list. This will definitely be my most controversial ranking yet because there are a lot of hot takes. But hey, these are my opinions. Feel free to debate in the comments. While I don't like this game as much as most people do, it's still a perfect homage to Mike Tyson. Whether or not you think he's a good person, you can't deny he's on the Mount Rushmore of boxers. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time when we take on the next game.